the Switch's life is coming to a close. I mean, you know, the Switch 2 hasn't been officially announced yet, but, like, come on. Come on, there's so many rumors. And even if there weren't so many rumors, you can read between the lines. It's been 7 years since the Switch came out. Normal console generations are like, what, 5 years for Nintendo's past? Everyone's saying that their tech is outdated. The only games we know are coming are remasters and Pokemon Legends ZA, and, you know, Game Freak doesn't play by the normal rules anyway. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon came out on the 3DS after the Switch released. And plus, a lot of people think that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is going to be cross-gen. And then there's Metroid Prime 4, but we still know nothing about that. And people think that's also going to be cross-gen with Switch 2. So, yeah, we got nothing. So, since we're almost done with the Switch, I think now would be the perfect time to rank the Switch games. I mean, of course, you know, there are still the remasters coming and the other few games that are. But, like, the other few games, like, they're probably going to be on the Switch 2 as well, in which case I'd rank them with Switch 2 games. And the remasters, I'm not including remasters in this list anyway, because if I did include remasters in this list, then all of the top 5ers would be just Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe. And for the bottom 5 would be Metroid Prime Remastered. And then number 10 would be the number 1 spot on this list that I am making. So yeah, we're not including the remasters. But, you know, even without including those, and also only having first-party games, because otherwise it's just a whole rabbit hole if we're just including every game on the Switch ever, that's still a pretty damn good library to pull from to rank. And, important disclaimer, I have not played a lot of the Switch games that people consider to be big and awesome, like... I know I'm gonna get so much shit for this, but no, I haven't played any Xenoblade. And I also haven't played the recently released Princess Peach Showtime, nor have I played all of these. So, you know, we're going off what I have played. Also, like with the remasters, I'm also not including Wii U ports, and normally I wouldn't include Breath of the Wild in with those Wii U ports since Breath of the Wild is cross-gen, but the Wii U version was actually the one I played of Breath of the Wild. So since I played the Wii U version of that, I feel like it would be... I don't really feel like I can count the Switch version, since I haven't played it. And also, it's been so long since I played Breath of the Wild in general that I don't think I can even really form a proper opinion on it. It's been so long. It's been so unbelievably long. But anyways, without further ado, because that was a lot of ado, here are my top 10 Switch games. Number 10, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Maybe I'll get crap for putting it this low on this list, but honestly, no. Smash has never really been as big with me as other people. I'm not like a competitive player. I just play with my dad. And even that, I don't really do that much anymore. So, yeah, there's gonna be some recency bias here because I haven't played that much Smash recently, but, you know, recency bias or not, it's Smash. I love it. I love playing this. Alright, even if it's not as big with me as other people, it's still pretty damn big with me. I love this game. I love playing as all the different Nintendo dudes, doing the fun stuff. It's undoubtedly, without even the slightest amount of doubt, the funnest fighting game I've ever played, alright? Street Fighter and that one Sega Genesis game, Eternal Champions, that my dad always likes because he played it in his college dorm room when he was a youngster. Like, those are all fun, but Smash Brothers it doesn't just blow them out of the water, it blows them all the way out to the fucking moon. Alright, blows them into orbit. So even if it isn't as big a deal to me as it is to other people, and even if I do get annoyed when Nintendo Direct cold opens are used to announce Smash DLC fighters, when they used to be used to announce big new games like Mario Maker and Luigi's Mansion 3, I might wish that they announced full games in the cold opens like they used to. They for a hot minute there, it was just Smash DLC fighters. Luckily they're not doing that anymore. But still, man, it's Smash. I love Smash. Number 9, Pokemon Let's Go. Eevee specifically, that's what I played. Okay, Pokemon on the Switch has been inconsistent at best. Okay, a lot of mediocre titles, a lot of the games where you just roll your eyes and think, honestly, why did they think that it would be okay to do this, considering the modern AAA standard? But while Pokemon Let's Go has its problems, and it's definitely not a traditional Pokemon game, it is not one of those games where you roll your eyes at Pokemon for not fitting the big AAA standard. I mean, sure, it isn't, like, as big and grand as, like, Sword and Shield in terms of like the big 3D scope and like the open areas. But like, it is still a remake of Kanto. They're not doing the thing where they're bringing it up to the full new gen game at the same time the remake comes out, even though that Let's Go actually came out first. But I respect them wanting to stay within the boundaries of Kanto, and they still did a lot with this game. They did a lot of new stuff with it, a lot of great stuff. It looks infinitely better than Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Like, infinitely better. Why didn't they just do this for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl's art style? That would have fixed so much problems. Just in general, I feel like it's one of the better looking Switch games. Just community-wise, I just bonded with this game so much more than I did with Scarvy. As well as buggy than Scarvy, and yes, I will admit, I am annoyed that it uses the Pokemon Go catching mechanic instead of the traditional Battle Wild Pokemon thing. But you know, this game's trying to do its own thing. Like, if I just want to do Kanto again, I can just boot up Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. If they want to remake this game, then they should try and mix it up a bit. Especially since it's like the second set of remakes that Kanto is gone, so I respect them trying to mix it up with doing the Pokemon Go catching mechanics. And, you know, I do really enjoy playing with my Eevee. I still do miss my wild encounters, though, and I miss my traditional starters, even though Let's Go did need to do its own thing. But since I do miss that other stuff simply because, Let's Go is only number 9. Number 8, pretty interchangeable with number 7, but as a matter of fact, it says that the thing I'm putting for number 8 is the number 7 in my notes, but I'm changing it while recording this video, because I changed my mind while recording this video, is Splatoon 2 and 3. Okay, technically this spot just goes to 3, because I'm not really allowed to put 2 games in one slot, and Splatoon 3 is a better game overall, but I spend like infinitely more time on Splatoon 2, and they're really similar, and a lot of the stuff I like about Splatoon 3 is stuff I mostly did in Splatoon 2 instead, so I feel like it would be wrong if I didn't include Splatoon 2 in here, but Splatoon 3 is the better game. I mean, what do we even have to say here? It's Splatoon, okay? It's so fun, and it's so different from other shooter games. You're just quick people playing paintball, you're swimming around in ink! You're inking people, it's the turf war! And there's the Salmon Run. Salmon Run's always fun. I like Salmon Run, you like Salmon Run, we all like Salmon Run. And then Splatoon 3 only, Alterna, that's like a really fun single-player game mode. Definitely better than any of the other Splatoon single-player campaign modes in the past. Although it is kind of annoying that they all use just kind of the same world theme throughout the entirety of Alterna. It's definitely evident that it was not the main focus, the single-player mode, because it has nowhere near the amount of passion and creativity plugged into it that you would expect from a regular single-player mode in a game that's single-player based. But it's still a really good single-player mode for Splatoon, and the Turf War is still awesome. The Turf War is really just what I like. I just like Turf War, and it does not disappoint. I like Turf War a lot. It's Turf War. Number 7, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is peak 2D Mario, and also better than most 3D Mario games. It's a really good Mario game. The Wonder Flower is just chef's kiss, better mechanic than basically any other 2D platformer level gimmick thing that I could think of in any other games like this. The level design is just great. It does so much with the world map, which that's what really sold me. Which I really wanted them to do more with world maps instead of them just being like, beat this one, go to the next one, beat this one, go to the next one. They did that. They did more with the world map. The new world map is amazing. And there's even like those like mini levels, like the I don't remember what they're called. I don't remember by heart any of the names of the different individual mini levels. But like there was like the enemy rush ones, and then there was like the mini challenge, and then the races, and then the ones in the park where you were looking for parts of Wonderfly. I don't actually like that last one, but still, a lot of great stuff in there. Along with still just the peak Mario mechanics and movement and level design that, of course, it always has, because it's Mario. Of course, it always has great level design, and just some wonderful creativity. The reason it's only number 7 is, well, for one, as you know, aside from the final boss, the bosses suck. And for 2, I like this game so much, I just feel like it needs to be longer. This game is just so short. Normally, I don't even care about game length that much. Like, a 10-15 hour game is, I feel like it's pretty sweet. Like, anything over 25 hours is honestly too much for me. I don't want to spend that much time in a single game. it's too much. I want to move on to something else at that point. But like Super Mario Bros. Wonder was just so good that I just wanted more of it. Just like a couple more worlds. A couple more worlds would have meant so much to me, so much. But regardless of those faults, Super Mario Bros. Wonder is still an excellent Mario game, a superb Mario game, and I hope Nintendo takes this direction with 2D Mario in the future. Or hopefully they'll go even further than this, because, you know, Mario Wonder is great. I do feel like they could go even further with 2D Mario, though. And I really want them to. Number 6, Pikmin 4. Second game on this list of last year. Like I said, there is going to be some recency bias. But, yeah, Pikmin 4 is just an awesome game. It definitely has a lot of flaws, like the lack of enemies respawning at all, and the auto-locking mechanic, which I didn't dislike as much as other people did, but I still found them annoying. But everything else about this game just makes up for it plenty. There's so much stuff to do across its different maps. There's so many caves and Dandori challenges and all those other types of challenges. And a ton of different important collectibles. That's not even mentioning Olimar's Shipwreck Tale. Then there's the home base area where you have all those castaways that you're rescuing. And you can buy stuff. And you can complete challenges in exchange for raw materials, which granted isn't a great exchange for completing those challenges. But it's still pretty cool. Then there's the night missions. There's so much to do in this game, and the core Pikmin formula on its own is so good, to the point where it really carries all this stuff that I really want to do to make me keep wanting to do it for the tremendous amount of content that this game has. I only really got into Pikmin like slightly before this game came out. I got the Pikmin 2 remaster when this game was coming up. But despite the fact that, I mean, I guess I played Pikmin 1 a year before just after hearing so much about it from Arlo. But even then, like, not like a ton of it. Like, I never beat it. But despite that, despite my limited experience with Pikmin before Pikmin 4's release, I feel like I'm a lifelong fan of this series already. It's a really good game. It's a really good series. I love this. And I hope that Pikmin 5 doesn't take another 10 years, because, seriously. Like, they're 2 for 3 with ridiculously long game release gaps. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. Number 5, Pokemon Legends Arceus. Alright, now, since you probably assume that since Pokemon's been on the Switch, you probably assume that there wouldn't be multiple Pokemon entries on this list. But if you throw so much at the wall, eventually you're gonna get something to stick. And that was Legends Arceus. Legends Arceus was the return to form that Pokemon desperately needed. Sure, it lacked a lot of important things, like good visuals, but overall, it is one hell of a Pokemon experience. Between getting to finally revisit Sinnoh and experiencing all these awesome wilderness mechanics and boss fights, like, you fight the guy with the bomb thrown at, that's such a great idea. This truly is the next evolution of Pokemon. I cannot give a shit about the newer gens at this point. I mean, okay, maybe not give a shit. I want them to keep making those, I guess. And I want them to be good. Now, there is one thing. I do prefer Pokemon's normal battle system over this game's altered system, because Legends Arceus does have a pretty different battle system than normal Pokemon does. I mean, not like too different, like it's still Pokemon, but it makes a lot of changes. And while I respect them trying to make Legends' battle system stand out like this, I do prefer the original system. But the other stuff makes up for that plenty. Legends Arceus is an awesome Pokemon game. Although one more thing, they should have gone to the Distortion World in that. Why do you not have them visit the Distortion World in Pokemon Legends Arceus? That is the biggest missed opportunity ever. Like, what we get to briefly pop in to fight some legendaries and Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, that's it. This is the only opportunity they were ever going to get to bring back the Distortion World. Now it's gone. No more Distortion World ever. Ugh. No. Number 4, Metroid Dread. Metroid Dread was a game I'd been wanting since I ever became a Metroid fan. I also desperately wanted Metroid Prime 4, sure, but a sequel to Fusion was like the Metroid fandom endgame for me. That's what I really wanted. And we actually fucking got it! Before Prime 4, even. Now, this game does take a lot of directions for Metroid that I don't like. For instance, I feel like it was way too hard and used too much trial and error. And I also got lost a lot because they made the progression more straightforward than I was expecting, and because of that, I went way more out of range from where the expected solution was. But I still love it. The game's story was great, the movements and mechanics feel smooth, the Emmy sections are a blast, I don't care what anyone else says, I love those. And exploring around ZDR and utilizing the new abilities is as fun as ever in Dread. This is a great game, and it is one of the best new 2D games to release in the modern gaming generation. In the 2020s, in terms of like 2020s, I'm gonna say it just is straight up the best 2D game to release in that time frame. It's super good. Number 3, Tears of the Kingdom. Honestly, I would have ranked Tears of the Kingdom number 1 on this list for the first few days I played it, but as I slowly sunk more time into it, eventually reaching 100 hours, I realized that it is unfortunately quite deeply flawed. The difficulty is unbalanced as fuck, the story blows, and many of the sections and mechanics aren't used to their fullest potential. But despite those flaws, holy Hylia, this game is amazing! I can build so much stuff, the world is so vast and blends so well with the game's mechanics. The shrines rock, I loved using stuff to make weapons, the characters are great, and there's an entire underground section they hid from their audience until launch that I really thought the game should have, and I was disappointed that it didn't have a whole underground area because of the trailer with the Ganondorf underground when I first saw it. But then it turns out there was surprise. The depths did exist in this game after all, and I was so hyped about it. This game is beautiful, even if it does have a lot of flaws. I'm sorry I can't include Breath of the Wild on this list because I don't have the Switch version of it, but I hope this game makes up for it because, man, Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom, man. Number 2, Kirby in the Forgotten Land. You'd think a traditional platformer like this would never gain so much favor with me to get ranked higher than Tears, especially considering how much time I spend talking about how the other traditional linear platformers ruin 2D gaming. Yet, despite that, I can't help but preach about how this game rules. Mouthful Mode, Waddle Town, the treasure roads, the hobby ability upgrades, the shops and boss rushes, and minigames you can play in town, instead of them just being on the menu, the incredible level design, which doesn't feel like it's just, oh, you have there's linear levels in Nowhere Land, like in Mario 3D World, which is a lot like this game. No, these levels feel like they're actual areas in a larger, cohesive world. The atmosphere is awesome, and the climax is Omega tier, which makes this not only a top 3 Switch game, but in the all-time top 20 video games in my eyes. Probably not many other people's eyes. There are so many other video games out there. Many of the quote-unquote all-time great ones I have not played, so, you know, but still, Kirby in the Forgotten Land, masterpiece. I want more Kirby games like this so bad. Number 1... Shitty drum roll. Super Mario Odyssey! They took a game series that had spent the last few years in a rut, and they turned out one of the greatest games ever made. I feel like the public opinion of this game may have been soured a bit over the past 6.5 years, but not to me. To me, this game will always be the peak of the Switch. There's so many different captures, you can do so much fun stuff with them. And even though they are, at the end of the day, still pretty limited compared to what it could have been, that just makes it still so good, despite that. Because they're so fun to use, but at the end of the day, you're still playing as Mario, and there's just such a big area to explore. It's a super fun scavenger hunt to get all the different power moons. And I know it's not like in the other games where each moon felt earned and you had to do individual challenges for each of them. And instead, you know, you could find a moon under a rock, you could find a moon after a super tough platforming challenge. They're not really balanced at all, but like I said, it's a scavenger hunt. It's a scavenger hunt. It's not for everybody, but it is definitely for me. I love all the different kingdoms too, and how they all have different NPCs and races and stuff. Like, they have that in a Mario game, like, compared to, like, what, 3D Land, 3D World, the new Super Mario Bros. Series, when they were just doing this? Now they have, like, towns with shops where you can buy things? Oh, I love Mario Odyssey so much. I did say there was recency bias, and one of the reasons I didn't judge Breath of the Wild, besides the whole I have the Wii U version instead thing, was because it's been so long since I've played it that I can't really judge it fairly because I don't remember my own opinions properly. But Mario Odyssey, despite coming out only a little bit after Breath of the Wild did, it is still fresh in my memory as one of the best games I have ever, and most likely will ever, play. Mario Odyssey, thank you. And may future Mario games follow your example. But not be as good or better than you, because none shall be better than the king. Although actually, no, I shouldn't say that. A good Mario game that's even better than Mario. That just means more good Mario. Okay, I take that last part back. Here's some honorable mentions. Fire Emblem Three Houses. This is the only Fire Emblem game I've ever played, like many people. I mean, okay, I did play a little bit of Heroes, but like that's like a fun game. It doesn't count. And while I did only scratch the surface of what is overall this massive game, I had a blast. You know, the strategy stuff was amazing. I haven't played a ton of strategy games, but Three Houses was one that I did really like. I really liked the characters, the story they were building was awesome, and just the whole school thing, like, I didn't think I would be into that, but it turns out I was into that. I only bought this game because I was in one of those buy everything that Nintendo comes out phase. I was in that phase of my life, but I don't regret it at all. Fire Emblem Three Houses just barely didn't make this list. It is a fantastic game. Cadence of Hyrule. Aside from Breath of the Wild, which I still don't remember enough of, Cadence of Hyrule was the first Zelda game I really properly bonded with. Despite the fact that it was a spin-off made by an indie studio that was crossing over with a rhythm game, I still loved the shit out of it. I mean, seriously, this game is so good. I only beat it recently, like a couple months ago. I finally got around to beating it. I was never able to get past Octavio my first time through when this game came out, but yeah, once I have beat it, I can confirm this game is great. You know, it's not a traditional Zelda game. It is still pretty whack. It's like a weird rhythm Zelda roguelike, whatever. And honestly, they kind of messed up the final boss. Like, this is the first time we've seen classic form Ganon in a while. He's always been Ganondorf or Calamity Ganon or Demon Dragon, or closest we've gotten was Link Between Worlds with Yuga Ganon. But this game actually had classic Ganon, even though it doesn't really count because it's a spin-off, but it had classic Ganon. And the boss fight sucked! But other than that, this game rocks. I love this game. Super Mario Maker 2. I mean, what do I have to say about this game? It's Super Mario Maker 2, man. Alright, it is a superb release, which lets you make your own Mario levels, and also play a ton of other fan-made ones. And while because they're made by crazy fans, they're not usually not as good as actual Mario levels made by Nintendo themselves, they are still really good and really fun, and it has a bunch of other stuff too, like the online competitive race to the end game mode, which sucks, and it has terrible frame rate, and the game honestly would have been better without it, so I probably shouldn't have brought that up. But also the campaign mode, which, like, it's super easy to look over, because why would you play the campaign mode when you can make your own levels and play a bunch of online ones? But honestly, before Mario Wonder, this was my favorite 2D Mario game. The Super Mario Maker 2 campaign mode was my favorite 2D Mario campaign. And I'm not sorry. It is really good. It still has a bunch of stuff that Mario Wonder doesn't have. Kirby Star Allies. Now, this game gets a lot of crap, and not all of it is deserved, but a good amount of it is. A good amount of the crap it gets is deserved. A lot of it isn't, but a lot of it is. But despite that, believe it or not, this was the game I got my Switch for. And I do not regret it. This game is so cute, it's so fun, it's got such awesome stuff. The ally mechanic is just, it's just dumb fun. Like, you know, it may be super easy, it may be super short, the level design in the first half may not be that good, but who cares about that when you just got dumb fun? That's Kirby Star Allies for you. It's dumb fun. You just screw around with the allies a bunch. It's, that alone is just awesome. And it also has some mechanics that I really wish returned in later Mario games, like the Actually, I guess the ability combining didn't originate from Star Allies, so maybe I can't really say that. But still, like, getting on an electric cutter, that was awesome. I really wish that was in, like, Forgotten Land and the Return to Dreamland remaster. Yoshi's Crafted World, yet another game that gets a lot of crap. And while, yes, it does have a lot of flaws, like making you have to replay levels to get enough flowers so you can move on. And the flip side, game mode that they advertised so much was actually not that great. But despite that, this is still a really good and really underrated platformer. It's got a lot of great mechanics. It's got like the little mini-game levels, the pseudo 3D movement. And it just refines Yoshi a bunch. It's got like some explorative properties, which isn't much you see in a linear level-based platformer. But I am so glad they're here. And I'm kind of disappointed that Goodfield decided to make Princess Peach Showtime instead of another Yoshi game, because this and Woolly World made me really love Yoshi games. Although, we did get it, I guess it was worth it for Princess Peach Showtime. Princess Peach Showtime, people seem like they're really enjoying that. I've only played the demo, and I thought it was okay. I didn't really feel like it was worth getting the full thing, but people seem like they're really enjoying it, and I'm really happy for them, and I appreciate that, but I just want more Yoshi, man. Yoshi fun. Yoshi fun. Yoshi fun. And of course, don't get mad if my game list that I had here didn't have some games that you really like on the Switch. Whether it be a game that I haven't played or a game that I have played but just didn't think it was good enough to get on here. Even though I did like it still, because I can't really name any Switch games I have that I just straight up dislike to much of an extent. At worst, I thought they were mid and weren't engaging with me specifically just because of certain moods. But I didn't have any games that I thought were straight up bad on this system. But feel free to tell me your opinions in the comment section.